Welcome to Thursday's video. Um, Today, I'm I'm not going to be doing my normal usual info-based videos. That's what I call 'em. They're my problem videos where I solve a problem for you guys, or I solve a problem in my life and how I fix that problem. We're not going to be talking about that today. What we're gonna probably be talking about, what we're gonna be talking about is how my life has changed over the last 2 years in terms of how people treat me and how I treat myself. And I know this will probably be the second video for the day. I did release a video this morning on the steps I'm taking to start my business. And unfortunately, I tried uploading it last night, but last night in the middle of its uploading, it stopped for whatever reason. So I wasn't able to upload it till tonight, till this morning when I woke up and I checked, and it was like at 20%. And so it was paused at that. So I had to, restart the upload. And so that's why it was released today. So you're gonna have two videos today, maybe more. I don't know. But the so that was that. So that was just a quick update of my life. I did that yesterday because I had some free time and I was by the pool area um where I live or whatever. So why not upload a video? And so I decided to do that. I'm trying to be more spontaneous with my uploads or whatever. And so now this is the video. I finally have a study room for once. I didn't have one for my Tuesday video and yesterday's video. Now, of course, it's uploaded today, so you could say that video. My business video, First Steps for Business, are a is a is a Thursday video, and so you'll have two Thursday videos. Hooray for you if you're a returning viewer. Thank you. If you're a newer um watcher or whatever. My videos, my channel is mainly about how I'm improving my life, and how I've improved my life, specifically over the last 2 years, really. Um, but it's basically how my life has changed over the years and like what are the next steps in my life. So I'm about to move out of living with my parents. I'm no longer going to be living with my parents. And I've made that decision. And there are other things I'm doing. I'm starting a business instead of trying to get a job with my accounting degree I'm going to be getting in a couple months. So I'll finish my accounting degree in a couple months. So instead of going trying to get a job or whatever, I'm trying to start a business. And those are just two things I'm trying to do to improve my life. But let's really talk about this video is really going to be about how my life has changed over the last 2 years and how I've improved myself. So this video is based off a uh, thing I was talking with my dad about, and it's based off of over the last 2 years, I have completely changed my life. And what do I mean by that? Well, I went from probably bottom of the barrel. I was a loser. Like I'm not gonna lie that. Or some people are like, you shouldn't say you're not a loser or stuff like that. No, I was really a loser 2 years ago and I was at the bottom level of my life and now I've fixed everything up. I've fixed my life or whatever. And, I've changed my life completely. And so I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about how my life has changed, how people respond to me more specifically. So if you don't know my story, 2 years ago, I had been going to college at UCF. I was very depressed. I almost was suicidal. I almost committed suicide. And then I decided I needed to completely change my life. I needed to stabilize my life until I could make changes for the better. And so I decided to come home, restart my life, pick out a stable job, whatever job, I didn't care, just so I could have a stable income, a stable routine and everything. And so I did that. And, I also, for the first couple months, whatever, I worked and I built myself up a little bit. I kind of stabilized my life. And then after the last, I would say year and a half, 2 year, well, I've been living with my parents for about 2.5 years, maybe a little bit over that. So maybe like 2 years and 8 months. For the first couple months, I kind of stabilized my life with my job and everything, and having a stable routine, and having to wake up early to go to work 5 days a week, or however many days a week I was doing it, 3 days a week if I was going to college. And then I started to take steps to completely change my life, to improve my life. And so that's what this channel is about. And I want to go over, the 2 years of progress I completed. And in doing so, I kind of improved the perception of others towards myself. So basically, I would say it's like 2 years, really 2 years. I stabilized my life in a couple months, and then my mindset still sucked, whatever, but I wasn't as depressed. I had gotten into a routine so I could get through the day. I was no longer suicidal. I was still a little bit depressed, but I wasn't suicidal anymore. And so for those 2 years, I've worked really hard to change myself. And so I'm going to go over the things I've done and the major benefits. One, I started to create my content that I read and I watch. So I started to, you know, think about, should I watch this video? Like, is it useful for my life? Is it beneficial for my life? And is it a positive or a negative, message? What is the video type like? And, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, or at least I did. So that was the main thing. I also write a lot, but that reading was for fiction. I didn't really curate my fiction as much. What I really needed to do was curate the video I was watching. You know, I wanted to watch videos that had a positive message that helped me with my life, that improved my life. And so that's what a lot of the YouTube channels I watch now, that's what I've recommended is people improving their lives. Like, if it's a smaller channel, it's how they're improving their life. And then for bigger channels, it's how they solved a similar problem that I have in my life. And so I've done that. So that's the first thing I did. And by curating the content that I consumed, I started to influence my mind and I started to be able to change my mind. And that's how I fixed my mindset. Now, I did other things too. I did journaling for a little bit. I haven't kept that up. One thing I really did was I started to use music to influence my emotions, and I have a whole video for that. And so I recommend you to go watch that video. It doesn't have a lot of views. It's like attuning yourself to music. I think that's the title. I would really recommend that video. Or you can watch the blog. You can read the blog post. I think I linked it to the video. If it's not in the description of the video, you can just type in tylerdrunenblog.com. I have the link to my blog in my YouTube account description, so you should be able to do that. And it's one of the blog posts, and it's attuning to music. And just click that and read through the blog posts because I think the blog post goes a lot more in depth than the video. At least I'm assuming so. And so I started to use music to influence my emotion. Well, that was it. That's how I really fixed my mindset. I've started to develop a mindset of, I'm more pessimistic about the world and about the USA's future, or whatever. I'm a pessimist about the general life in, general humans. However, for myself, I'm a more optimistic person. And so that's my mindset shift. I used to be, life sucks or whatever. Humans suck. Like they're gonna betray you, hurt you, whatever. So what's the point in life? Like, I suck too or whatever and everything. And that was my mindset. It was really nihilistic. And then I changed my mindset to be the world sucks, yeah, but that doesn't matter. I can completely change myself. I can change the world into a better place, one that I think would be a better place. I can, influence the world if I become a better person, if I become more influential, if I have more power in society. And so that's where my mindset has changed, where it's like, well, life sucks and everything, and you see that in my business philosophy. Life suck, business will be really hard, but I believe in myself. I believe I can be the 1% who have a successful business, who are successful business owners, sorry. Um, and so I believe in myself. And so that's a mindset change that's happened over the last 2 years. Um, and so that's been my mindset change, and I've become more confident. That's another thing that has happened. I've become more confident in myself, but I've also overcome a lot of my fears. Like this YouTube channel was a fear of mine starting these YouTubing, starting this YouTube channel and everything, and talking to a camera for an hour, and then having strangers evaluate my thoughts or evaluate my decisions in life as I explain them to you. And so that was a fear of mine, but I overcame that fear. And through that overcoming that fear, you know, I have gained a lot of confidence in myself. Another thing I've done is I've really worked on my fitness, and I've really worked hard on that, on gaining weight because I used to be really skinny. I don't really have any pictures of that because I was insecure at that time, and I didn't like taking pictures. And my mom liked taking pictures of us, but I didn't like having pictures of me because I was insecure at the time, and I was really skinny, like a twig. My metabolism was too fast, and also I didn't eat a lot. I didn't like the food I had to eat. And so I basically was really skinny. And, clothes would be too baggy on me, even on the smallest size. I didn't fit into my clothes like I do now. And that's because, I've worked out. I put on about 10 pounds of muscle, 15 pounds of muscle over the last 2 years. And now I've had ups and downs. I could have gone if I really had a really focused workout plan where I went to the gym every day and I ate a ton of food or whatever. I could have gained way more muscle or whatever. I'd look better. I'd have more muscle, whatever. But it took me 2 years to get going and start completing, my workouts and everything. Like I was really inconsistent the first year and a half, 2 years, and now I'm doing the push-ups because the push-ups have the least resistance to me. I don't have to put on gym clothes and go to the gym or anything. I can just get out of my bed and do 10 push-ups, wait a little bit, do another 10 and sets of, doing 10 reps per set and just do like 10 sets. And whenever I'm working or whatever, just get down and do 10 push-ups. And and so that gives me the least resistance. And I've had to find out that you know in the beginning I was doing weights or whatever and I go to the gym, but it was so hard to stay consistent on it. And that's just me. And some people might be like, well, you're lazy, you shouldn't have to you shouldn't have to force yourself to go to the gym. You should be motivated to go to the gym, or even if you're not feeling right, you should still go to the gym or whatever. But that doesn't work for me. And the best way I found is to have an in-home gym or whatever. And I can't buy weights or whatever. I don't have a place to live on my own, and there's barely any space in my room, so I can't just bring a ton of weights in, where I live or whatever. And so maybe when I move, what I really want to do is when I move to a studio apartment or whatever, have a little area where I have weights and everything. And yeah, it might cost 100, $500 for all the weights or whatever, but I will be able to do that. But right now I can't. And so that the calisthenics are the best way for me to work out really is to just do push-ups until I am exhausted until I can't do any more to failure. And that builds muscle for me. And with the building of muscle, I've really found myself more confident. I've been becoming more of a risk taker because what you got to realize, at least for guys, is when you have more muscle, when you have more muscle or anything, you have more muscle. I'll show my biceps when you have more muscles. I'm always proud to show my progress in life. But when you have more muscles, you increase your testosterone, production. But also, if you have a lower body fat percentage, you increase your testosterone. And so I was probably really, really low on testosterone 2, 3 years ago when I was super skinny. But I was skinny, but my body fat percentage was really high. So I was skinny fat. I barely had any muscles. So the weight I did have was either like my bones, a little bit of muscle, but mostly fat. And so I never really had abs and everything. And so I've built up those muscles and I've got my body fat percentage down lower. So I'm now more risk taking as a result of that because I have higher testosterone. And I've seen that influence on my mind in real life. And so I really wanted to talk about that. If you're a guy, I don't know, I haven't done any research on women, but if you're a guy, you should be working out just for the benefits of that, not just to look good and fit in your clothes and be more attractive, but also for the testosterone increase you get because you're more of a risk taker. You have more ambition as a guy if you're weightlifting, and I think that's a good thing. It makes you more attractive to women because women love ambition, they love risk taking and all that. And you can say, well, no, they don't, but I can pull up the book I have on it, and it does say that ambition is a highly valued trait for women because evolutionarily, if you were a man and you had more ambition, you were more likely to get more resources. And in the ancient times, that was what, being attractive was all out. Do you have the resources to take care of me and my baby? And women had to be very selective on who they chose as a husband or as a long-term partner. If you don't like the husband word, or if you don't like marriage, but a long-term partner who would provide the most resources for them. And so I that's why a lot of left-leaning, I would say, groups do not like fitness. They say you shouldn't be working out because you're making yourself unequal to other people. But also, in the same way, if you have more testosterone as a guy, as you have more muscles, you are more right-leaning. You're more independent, anti-government, dependence or whatever you would call it, because that's what the left and right are. Um, one is more less government and one's more government intervention in life and more equal, and then the right is more unequal in life. And as you work out, you start to become unequal to other people. You start to become better than a lot of the people you live with or who you see on your day-to-day basis. Because if you think about it, in America, 60%, 70% of Americans are either obese or they're overweight. And so because you're better than that, I wouldn't say better, but because I would say better. I'm trying to be politically correct, but screw it. But if you are working out and you're at 15% body fat, you are above average than the average American. Even if you're not working out, if you're just skinny, if you're not, your BMI is not over the average, so you're not overweight or you're not obese compared to the BMI average for your age and your height and what gender you are, then you are above average in America. And that's unequal. And so by working out, you're creating this unequalness in society, which I think is a good thing. I think people should be rewarded for putting in that effort because if people didn't, then there would be no rewards for working out or maybe starting a business or becoming a billionaire or millionaire. Like those people do it because then they can get financial security, they get power in society or whatever. No one would become a politician if everyone was equal. Why would you work really hard to move up in the corporate ladder if you were going to be paid same as someone who didn't care, just worked 40 hours a week? It's the same thing. And so that has changed my mindset. I would say with the working out has changed my mind a lot, and I've noticed that. And because I really am exploring my mind every day, I ask myself different questions, and I see how my mind changes, and I can see how my mindset changes over time, and I can kind of curate the mindset that I want, so I can pick the one I want. And you start to have more influence over your emotions and over your thoughts. And that's the ultimate aim of Buddhism is to kill the ego, essentially, by getting rid of all your thoughts and merging with the world or whatever. That's enlightenment, where you like merge with the subconscious, the human subconscious, the collective unconscious by that's what Carl Jung calls it. And I don't want to get too much into psychology, but just know that fitness has changed me so much. And then the acne. I've fixed a lot of my acne. 2 years ago, my acne was not bad, but it wasn't perfect. Okay. I was on my way to a perfect skincare, but I was still going along. I was still trying new things and everything. But now I've basically gotten a perfect skincare. Now I don't mean like perfect wise, but I've gotten rid of a lot of stuff. I think my skin's better than the average American. And that was from in high school, my acne was very bad you know, but I mean, it wasn't the worst. It's not like I had cystic acne all over my skin and really bad, but it was still moderately bad. I even went to a dermatologist like one or two times or whatever. And, that didn't work out, but I at least went to that. And so my skin has gotten way better. and it's taken me 7 years, and it's only over the last, I would say, year and a half that I've really locked everything in, and now I just have to maintain my skincare routine, and I really think that's an important thing for people to have. And now, like I said, it took me 7 years of trying different stuff, seeing what would work, and your skin takes a long time for the effects of your skincare to pass on to your skin. And so it took years of trying different things and everything, and it could have been faster if I had more knowledge, but skincare is a more personalized thing, and you have to try a lot of things before you find out what your skin likes and what it dislikes, and it takes a long time. And so those have like been a lot of the main things in my life that have changed, and the reason I make this video is because I've been getting a lot of more compliments. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what the influence of other people have been on me. I have noticed I've become more attractive to the opposite sex. More people smile at me or, thank me for helping and everything. When I was in high school, that never happened. College never happened. It's like I've become that it's like the halo effect, where if you're more attractive, people perceive you better. And that's what's happened to me. I've noticed as I've changed, as I've become more confident, my walking has changed, my pace has changed, my body language has changed as I've become more confident. And as a result, people respect me more. They understand that I respect myself, so they respect me more. If instead of like when I didn't care about myself back in my college and high school days, and I take care of myself more, so people are more respectful of me. And I've noticed, a lot more women are smiling at me or making eye contact with me instead of just ignoring me when I'd pass by them. And another thing that prompted this video when I was telling my dad by this, one of my coworkers, I would say her name, Maria. We were like talking while I was making fries or whatever, just a normal conversation. She's like a team leader. I'm just a regular employee because I didn't plan on staying forever or anything. She's like a team leader, which is above a regular employee, but not a manager yet. They do the same thing as managers, but they don't get paid as much. And so she was like, I always thought you were a player. Like you always seemed like you were a player. And I was like, oh my God, that's like the best compliment I've ever gotten. And what you got to realize is you ask any man if a woman said like, oh, I think I see you as like a player or whatever. I thought you were a player. That's very confident boosting. And why do I say that? Because for a guy, to be a player, you have to be at least some level of attractive to most of the population, or for a lot of women. You got to be attractive. You got to be above the average for a guy, because the average guy isn't being a player out here. So when a girl says, I see you, I thought you were a player, or you were the player type or something. What that means is in her eyes, you're more attractive than the average guy or whatever. Or, you're able to at least in her eyes, she thinks you'd be able to get a lot of women and, sleep around or something. And so that's like, and, that was so shocking to me because one, I've never been in a relationship or whatever. I like to be honest on this, video on this YouTube series. I've never been in a relationship or whatever. And so that was shocking that she would say that because, like I said, you asked me 2 years ago when I started working at Whataburger, you asked me in college and high school, that would have never happened. Like at all. No girl would ever say that to me. And just by working out, building myself up, building my mindset, everything, I've become more attractive to women. And I've gotten results from that. I see that results in my real life. Like women will look at me or whatever. Now it's not like I'm a 9 out of 10 or whatever. They stare at me or they come by and start trying to touch me and all my muscles. No. Maybe I'll get to that point in a couple more years as I build myself more and more. But, just by the 2 years I've become, more attractive to the average guy. And like I said, that boosted my confidence so much because like I said, if you're an average guy, like that's why I saw a short clip or whatever on YouTube or whatever, where it was like the worst comment you can ever give your boyfriend is like when you say, I didn't marry you because I wanted a short-term thing for you, or I didn't marry you because I didn't want friends with benefits. No, what she said, if she says, I married you because I wanted a provider or something like that, for a guy, that's like kind of an insult. Like it's a good thing, but also a bad thing because it's like, well, you wouldn't think I would be attractive enough to sleep with me on the first date or something like that, or you don't think you would like if you just saw me in a club, you wouldn't be attracted to me. That's what the term is. So if that's a tip for women, you don't ever want to tell your boyfriend, "Oh, I love you because you provide all these resources for me," or like that's what it means really in the other terms. You're a beta male. And I don't mean that as a bad way because that's one of the long-term mating strategies that really works the best for guys is if you're a provider, that's why you got to show loyalty to her. You got to buy her dress and buy her stuff and eventually marry her. You're showing loyalty to her. And also you have to show that you're willing to give up some of your resources to a woman. And so for guys, I don't mean that as a bad thing if you're a beta male or whatever, and if you're an alpha male. No, I think for a well-rounded guy, you want to have both traits, okay? For the most successful, I would say the most successful guys have both traits, the alpha and the beta thing, combined together. And so I don't want to get into all that or whatever, but the short term is I was so glad for that compliment because I've never gotten anything like that before, but of course I've been getting results. It's not like it was because she was really attractive to me. I don't think so. Um, I really think it was, because I've worked on myself and become a player. I think it was her just saying, my coworker Maria was just saying like a basic statement or whatever. Um, and so I really am proud of that. And so let's also get a thing. And so that made me have a flashback or whatever whenever she had said that. And also I've been thinking more that I've been getting more smiles and everything. Like for example, I record this video in a study room, okay? Most of the videos I record are in a study room at the PSC library, Pensacola State Library, whatever, and I record those videos. And sometimes I open the doors for people whenever they're coming in or whatever, because PSC has these weird doors whenever you come into the library, where it's like two doors in a row and it's like in a square or whatever. Look up the library if you want to see what the doors are like or whatever. And I always like let people in or open it up. And like, I used to not get smiles for that, or specifically women wouldn't smile at me or they didn't really care, they would just nod back, or it wasn't like they were disdaining me or anything, they were just indifferent to me. But now I open the doors or whatever and they smile and say thank you or whatever. It's a big difference in treatment on how people treat you, at least woman wise, or whatever. Women will give me more eye contact. Before they wouldn't even care, they would look away or stuff like that, or they wouldn't even look at me. And so that's a big difference. But those differences I've been seeing in my real life have also caused me to look back at my high school and look back at, what are the people who graduated high school with me, year of 2019, that's where I graduated, 2019. What are their lifespan like? And like how far have I come like compared to them? Like are they improving themselves too? Are they better than me? And I would expect a lot of them would be better than me. But I looked into a lot of their lives or whatever, and they're not. A lot of them have degraded or whatever. And I hate to say that, but like, no, I don't hate to say that because it's better for me. I always say that because I don't want to be, mean or whatever. But I really have looked back into seeing, because high school, I was bottom of the barrel, bad acne, had no relationships, barely, I didn't really have any friends. The only people I had were like acquaintances that I would talk to in class sometimes, but most of the time I was paying attention to the teacher. And the only reason I was, talking to him is because we were in the same class. But like I would talk to people in one class and then the next year, whatever, we wouldn't have class together ever again, and I would just never talk to them again. And they never reached out, I never reached out or anything like that. And so I would say they were acquaintances, and the only reason we were acquaintances because we had classes together. And I did, swim team and track for a little bit, but that was like a year each, maybe 2 years for track or whatever. But senior year I quit those because what I realized is like I had different priorities than most of the people on the swim teams or um, the track teams, especially the track team. A lot of the track team people didn't care about school, and at the time, that was the thing I really liked doing. I didn't really like it, but that was like my main thing on my line. Main thing on my mind was my schooling and, well, I need to study for this, or, I got to talk to the teacher about this, or, so like now the only thing going for me at that time after I graduated high school were my grades, but that ended up being useless. I got into a good school, UCF or whatever, because I was the top 10% of my grade. However, I didn't stay with them or anything. And so the grades were useless, but relationship wise, I missed a lot of the developmental growing up parts of my teenage years. And I'll talk about that in another video, but I really missed a lot of the development of my teenage years because I had no friends and, I never dated anyone and all the trauma I had. I basically spent either most of my days on skink, trying to improve my grades, or it was spent reading fantasy books to get out of my horrible life, my dull life, or whatever. I'd rather read books about heroes and someone slayed a dragon than have to continue and think about my horrible life at the time and, my depressing life. And so that's how I self medicated myself, was through fantasy books. But the rest of my time was spent on doing homework, grades, or whatever, club stuff, because I wanted to have clubs so I could improve my chances of going to a good college or whatever. My mom forced me to go into the honor society in high school or whatever, which I never liked, and it was really boring, but it was for my resume for college or whatever. So like none of that ended up being useful for me. Look how it turns out. Wow, I never thought this would be my path. I never thought I'd be making YouTube videos or trying to start a business or whatever. And so none of that ended up being useful for me. So I started out graduating college or graduating high school in 2019, bottom of the barrel. I could say like, oh, I was probably bottom 20%. Like, the only good thing is I didn't do drugs or alcohol or any of that stuff because my parents always warned about me, and I had watched a video in high middle school about how bad drugs are and everything, and I took that personally. So I never did any drugs or any alcohol or any of that, but I missed a lot of the developmental, stages for, because I didn't make friends or have any friends or any relationships or any of that stuff. Now, but like I said, it came out good because I wasn't like a lot of my uh co-students or whatever you call it, the rest of the students in my grade who did drugs or alcohol or any of that or got in trouble with the law. That's the only thing. So I wouldn't say I was bottom of the barrel. I was probably bottom 30%, 20%. Just know I was bottom of the barrel, whatever. 2 years, I've changed a lot of that. Relationship wise, romantic and personal, I'm not good with. But everything else I fixed my mindset. I've become more attractive, you know, everything. I fixed a lot of stuff. I have more energy now. Everything has improved I would say almost everything, because like I said, relationships and, I haven't improved with that at all. But, I think before I could have those relationships or whatever, I had to fix my mindset and I had to fix everything in my life. But looking back, when I looked back over you know, what are the other people doing who graduated with me? It's given me a lot of hope because, after 2 years of really 2 years of working hard, maybe 2 to 3 years of working really hard to improve myself. And, I've made mistakes and everything, but 2 years, I've surpassed, I would say, most of the students in my grade that graduated with me. Because when I looked back at what people were doing, I've seen how like a lot of the students that graduated with me, a lot of them peaked in high school. A lot of them are working fast food jobs, which I don't have a problem with. But like these were the people who that surpassed me in high school. So these are the popular kids, the football team players, all of this, basketball players, the top nerds who are going to go to Ivy League schools or whatever. Some of them are still ahead of me. I'm not going to lie. 20%. Some of them went to an Ivy League school. Some of them are a CEO. Some of them are business owners, but majority aren't. I'll come in and see someone who is in the same class as me who's working at a restaurant, local restaurant, or whatever. I have nothing wrong against that, but like it took me 2 years to go from bottom barrel to I'd say top 70%, 70 or 80%. But these guys who had surpassed me in high school, the popular kids, the smartest kids, who are the ones who had, parents who are super rich or whatever. I had sur I had caught up to them, or I've surpassed them. It's like they had downgraded after high school or they stopped going. So I've surpassed them, I've overcome them, or I've caught up to them. Like for example, like I had to fix all my mental health stuff and everything, but some of these kids they come out of high school and they've had, what, 2019, it's 2024, 5 years, and they have the same job as me. They're working at a local diner, they're working fast food, they're working at Walmart or whatever. But it took me 2 years to completely change my life, completely fix a lot of the mental stuff I had to fix. Work out, get in shape, all doing that and everything. But it's been 5 years for them. They started out that way. And or they've digressed back and now they were the high school football team leader or whatever and now they're a fat guy or whatever, or now they're fat or now they're ugly now because whatever reason. And it's shocking to me, after 2 years, look what I've done, and it gives me hope. Like I said, I think that's the theme of this video is look I got to look back at where I was 2 years, 3 years ago. What was I like in high school? And then how did I change over that time? But also, what were the people who were like in my high school who were like the most popular? What are they like now? What are the nerds in high school like now? What about the people who were bottom barrel in high school? Some of them improved drastically, just like me. And then some of them are still bottom of the barrel. Like, that's how much I've improved, and so I'm like, that's after like 2.5 years. I'm gonna say 2.5 years. What can it be like in, 4 years, 10 years? Like that gives me hope, it gives me a lot of hope. I guess that's the theme of this video is I'm hopeful for the future because I'm starting to see the effects of the daily habits in my life. So I've been implementing these daily habits, my skincare routine, putting on sunscreen every 2 hours, working out, doing push-ups every day. And I'm starting to see results in my life because people outside of me are starting to respect me more. They're treating me better just because it can be girls, it can be guys. Like God, men are respecting me more because they see I have muscle on me at least a little bit. Now I don't have a lot. I'm working up, but I've hit my beginning newbie gains or whatever. But that's just the thing. That's the theme of this video. I might make that the thumbnail or the title for the video is hope for the future. Because, I keep on this path for another 5, 10 years. Look what happens. And like that working out has developed the warrior inside of me. And it's also developed the lover type for me at least. But like my lover type masculinity, so if you don't know, I talked about this in a previous video, there's four different archetypes for a man that you must fulfill in some parts of your life, which is the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. I don't know why I haven't my thumb up before. The king, the warrior, the magician, the lover. And there's a book on that. Just type in those four words: king, warrior, magician, lover. And there's a book that explains those archetypes. That was really famous in the 1980s or whatever. I don't know why it's not more famous now. Now it's still kind of famous as a psychology book, but I really think it should be more famous. And so I've developed parts of myself for that. And that's partly the reason I'm starting my business is because after 2 years, I've seen the difference that I feel. But also, people are like, you shouldn't care about what other people think about you. But for me, I can't have that personality, that mindset. Like part of me doesn't care, but another part of me wants the recognition of others, and that's just a part of me. And some people it's like you can work that out of your relation, you're out of your personality, like you can cut that off of your personality. And yeah, but I think that's motivating for me. And so I've seen the effects of how people treat me, and so I want to. Uh, And then my haircut's messed up, so I haven't gotten a haircut yet. So I've seen the difference that people treat me like, and then I want to be, what is it going to be like 5, 10 years from now? And so I'm starting that business. I'm moving to Charlotte to develop myself because I know if I go through all this hard, grueling work for 5, 10 years, oh, people will treat me better. I can get a more attractive woman. So instead of getting a 6 out of 10, I can get a 10 out of 10 or a 9 or 8. Or I can have a ton of women follow me around in my life or have a ton of relationships with women. I don't want to do that. I want to have probably one single queen or whatever you call it, one single relationship that's monogamous. But I don't know. I've never dated anyone, so maybe I don't want the commitment, but I really think I will want the commitment for monogamy. But that's something completely different. But I've noticed that, and so that's the thing that I'm doing right now is I'm trying to improve myself, and through improving myself, people will treat me more. I'll be more respected. I'll have more power to influence society and everything. And so you might have different goals than me. Like it's nothing wrong. Those are just the goals that I have in society to make the world a better place. At least things I think would make a world a better place. Like you might not agree with me, but at least I'm trying. I'm not sitting on my ass just saying the world sucks. I'm not gonna try to change it, or this world sucks. I can't change it, so I'm just gonna be alone in the woods and by myself in the woods in a wooden cabin or whatever. I thought about that. I could have done that. I could have saved up money, bought a place in the woods away from society, and lived alone for 50 years until I died. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to change society to a better place in the image that I would think a better place. And to do that, I got to develop myself. I could try to get as much influence as possible, anything, but that would never work out. I'd rather develop myself as a person, and through naturally that development, more and more people will respect me and recognize me and give me more power in society. And Alex Hormozy talks about that in like business. Sorry, my computer got messed up. And that's part of the reason I'm going into business is his role is the business. It's not all about making the money. It's about using the business as you solve problems in your business about your overhead expenses, having to fire people, all those experiences and everything, having to find people to sell to and how to convert them into actual sales and everything. All those problems you solve make you into a better person, a more developed person. And as you do that, you become better at business, and then business becomes easier because business is a skill, and you become easier at that skill as you develop your skill in business. And so that's part of the reason I'm starting a business is I have this book, How to Grow a Small Business. Um, yeah, that's right. There you go. How to grow a small business. And by Alex Hormozy talks about that. It's about the journey in life. It's about the journey and all the struggles you go to. It's not about the destination. It's about the struggles you go through to reach the destination. And so that's the theme of this video. And I wanted to make this video before I forgot or anything. So just remember, if you start these small little habits, develop yourself fitness wise, muscle wise. Majority of my viewers are probably women or men or whatever. So I'm talking to the men. Develop yourself physically. Women should too, just for the health benefits. But for guys, build yourself up. Get the V taper. I'm going on the way to my V taper. I don't have one yet, but I'm progressing towards that. So, develop yourself physique wise, resource wise, mentally. Do all that stuff. That's my hope because you'll see your life is treated way better. You're treated way better. People like you more. People respect you more. So why don't you go for it? You respect yourself more. For me, I can look myself in the mirror and I'd be happy. In the morning sometimes I become narcissistic. I'm not afraid of my flaws. I'll look at myself like while I'm doing my skincare or whatever. It's not like I have anything to do. I'm doing my skincare. I'll look myself in the mirror as I'm putting on my skincare and I'm like, oh my God, look how much I've changed. Or like I'll do some punches in my, bathroom or whatever, like just some shadow boxing. I'm not good at boxing. I've never learned anything. I don't know anything. I just throw some punches or whatever. And I'll be like, oh my God, like look at myself or whatever. Or sometimes I'll take pictures of myself for Instagram and it's like, oh my God. Like, and that's the body I've built myself up. And like I said, you got all these intersect with each other. So you build your body up, you become more confident because you know you built up your body out, you've done something, you sculpted your body like a sculpture, like a the person who sculpts a sculpture or whatever. Like, so you have to do all of these things simultaneously. And it takes a long time. It took me 2 years to start seeing results from other people on how they treated me and everything. Like my mom, this is another thing from my mom, how I know I'm increasing it. So I told my mom about my YouTube channel or whatever. I talked about this in the last video. But she was like, what do you do it about?" And I was like, "Well, on Tuesdays I do my weekly update videos, and on Thursdays I do like solving a problem in my life." And I was like, my best performing video was my skincare, and I got like 600, 700 likes or 700 views or whatever. And she was like, "Whoa, my God," or whatever. "Why don't you do more skincare or whatever?" And I was like, "I wasn't going to do that." But I was like, "Yeah, I did it on skincare, but it took up like all 7 years of my skincare experience." And like, I was like, maybe people liked it because my skin is so clear or whatever. And my mom was like, "Yeah, your skin is like really good, like at least compared to your sister's." And she was like, "Yeah, I can see your skincare. Like, look at your sister, look how bad her acne is." Because my sister has really bad acne and acne scars and everything. And so, like, I could be like my sister if I didn't have a good skincare routine. And I know my sister's tried out her skincare routine. At least I think I don't know much about my sister or if she's doing any skincare routine. I I don't like to really ask her about that because I know it'll hurt her feelings because she has bad acne or whatever. But like she was like, "Oh my God." She was like, "Yeah, you have really good skin or whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, that's because my skincare routine." And she was like, "Yeah, that skincare routine works or whatever." And I was like, "Wow," or whatever. And it wasn't like my mom was trying to be nice or whatever. No, if I had bad acne, she would have been like, "You have bad acne." She did that a couple years ago where she's like, "You need to go see a dermatologist for your acne or whatever." When I was still locking in my acne routine 2 years ago or when I came home or whatever. And so I'm starting to receive results from people, and it's the small things. It's doing the push-ups every day. It's overcoming your fears. It's curating your content. It's, working yourself. It's all that, changing your mindset. It's all that. And I really think that's my action steps. Start taking those small steps. Start doing push-ups every day. Do as many as you can until failure. And just keep adding it. Adding a rep every single day you wake up. Can't do that. Well, start curating your content, stuff that'll improve your life, problems that you need to solve in your life and how to fix them, and then fix them in your life, and then document that on YouTube or on Instagram or whatever. And so I really recommend do the small habits. It takes time. It took me 2 years, and I'm still going. The results will even be bigger, will be better. People will treat me even more after 5, 10 years. And so that's all that I can give you is just do the small habits, everything. Start a skincare routine. Watch my skincare video if you want a skincare routine. Spend $100 on skincare. If you need the cheap version, pay like go to Walmart and get a skincare routine with CeraVe cleansers or whatever and moisturizers or whatever. You can do it. Like do it for 2 years. Do it for 10. It took me 7 years for my skincare to really get on point. 7 years. Really, 7 years, yeah. Think about that. Like, really think about how long that took. But if I would have stopped and I would have given up halfway through, like, "Oh, my skin sucks, I can never fix it," or anything, I would have never had good skin, and that would always be an insecurity of mine. And, my skin's not perfect, but it's better than most, and coming from where it was really bad, how bad it was before, and, so you have to stick long enough for the results to happen. If you start a business, do it for 5 years, do it for 10 years, do it till it's successful. If you do something long enough and you're continuously improving on that thing you're doing long enough, you will eventually get results. It took me 7 years of trying different skincare stuff, partly because my skin takes a long time to adjust to new products and how they, help for my skin or whatever, or if they're bad for my skin or good for my skin. But 7 years, I believe in you because I've seen the results in my life. I think you can get results the same as me. Start now. 2030. If I see you as a completely new man, 2030, completely new woman, congratulations, you rocked it. You destroyed it. You've destroyed it in life. You just need to keep doing that for the next 50 years. If you're 20, like me, once I hit 2030, that's going to be the peak of my life. If I do all this stuff for, till 2030, 8 years, no, no, it's 2024. I keep thinking it's 2023. 6 years. Do it for 6 years. Your life will be completely changed. I do that for 6 years. I do business for 6 years. I try to improve my business for 6 continuous years, no matter what happens. I continue my skincare. I continue to use sunscreen 2 hours every 2 hours, every time I go out in the sun. I continue to work out. By the results compound. 6 years of calisthenics, I'll probably be in the best shape of my life. I'll probably be in better shape than 90% of the population, except for elite athletes. I'll probably be 95%, 99%. If I'm at 12% body fat, 180 pounds, I'm top of my class in physique wise. I'm probably one of the most, probably that'll boost my attractiveness up 2 points. I'll probably by that time, I'll be like an eight. I get a really good haircut, I still have minor things with my skin, fix all that. I'll have a lot of resources by then. Maybe my business is making me 100K a year at age 30, maybe 200K a year. I'm better than most Americans income wise. My fitness is better than, most people on earth. What else can I ask for? Relationship wise, maybe I start dating when I move to Charlotte. I'm going to start dating after I get everything set up and everything. 5 years of dating, I probably will have a wife by then. You know, and maybe I'll start having kids. I've read a ton of books by then. I'll have more knowledge of life. Maybe I start traveling, so I'll have more travel experience. What if I worked on my articulation for 5 years? I've been making videos by then I'll be making videos for 6 years. By then I'll probably have 10K subscribers that are my loyal friends who are byproducts from me, who like me, who want to know more about my life. 10K loyal fans. You know, I'll have Instagram followers, let's say 20K. That's like after 6 years. How far ahead will I be in all areas of my life? I'll probably start up boxing when I move to Charlotte or fencing. Those are the two that I've really narrowed it down, either boxing or fencing. So physically, I'm in the best shape of my life. After 6 years of learning boxing or fencing, I'm probably a master at it. And I'm probably going to go to the Olympics for it. And, I've done all these things in my life. My articulation's really good because I've been speaking to a camera an hour a day, 2 days a week minimum for 6 years. And what is that? 2 hours per week times four is eight times 12. Let's say 100 hours because I missed some. 100 hours of speaking per year. 6 years. I've been speaking an hour a day, articulating my thoughts for 600 hours by then. I have 600 hours of YouTube of video creation. What is that? How much will my articulation better? How much will my videos be? How much, how influential will the things I say be after 6 years of trying to influence you through a camera, through my camera, through videos? Because ultimately that's what YouTube is. I'm trying to influence you based on my ideas that would have a better life. That's how my channel is about. I'm trying to create a better life for myself. This is how I'm doing it, and hopefully I'll influence you through that because you see how much of a better life I am at getting it. How I solve the problem, so you start to solve the problem. So I'm essentially convincing you of my value through that, and so I'm becoming more influential. And maybe I'll have 1 million subscribers, and then that'll show me how influential I am because I can attract 1 million followers to listen to my message. And so that's the culmination of it. I think stick around. This is a 10 year journey for me. 2033, but let's say to 2030, I'm gonna be making videos twice a week for an hour each. I believe I can do it. I know you can do it. You should come along with along with me. Like I prefer if more people do it with me, if you complete your journey and then we can network together. And I can be motivated by you guys if you guys are on the same path as me. And so that's my end goal. It's been 54 minutes for this video. I just want to ask some questions. I like to ask questions. I'm Do you think the beard is good? No one's answered my questions on that. Maybe no one's watching to the end of the video. Is my beard good or bad? Should I shave, resave? I know my haircut's bad. I need to get it either cut a little bit so it's more clean if I'm gonna stick with the long hair or cut my hair short. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I got things to do today, but I that's my action step, So those are my questions. So like, do you think the beard should I shave? Do you think I should grow the beard out? Because right now I'm pretty shaved or whatever. I haven't shaved in like 2 or 3 days, but other than that, do you like no beard or beard? What do you think I should do with my haircut? What else do you think I can improve in my life? I'm gonna start using eye drops to get rid of some of the redness in my eyes because I do have redness in my eyes. And that's a sign of low health for guys, and so I can increase my attractiveness by getting rid of the redness in my eyes. So I'm trying to, but I don't want to use anything that's addictive. So I've gotten eye drops that are just for hydrating the eyes because that's really what I need is more hydration in my eyes. Um, so that's something I'm doing to inc better my life. I'm starting the business. What are you doing to better your life? Like it can be simple things. Like I said, working out, getting a skincare routine, skincare routine. Don't I'm not gonna say try a skincare routine. No, you gotta do a skincare routine. There is no try or try not. There's only two things in life. You either do it or you don't do it. There's no I'm gonna try it for a week or two. No, start a skincare routine if you don't have one. If you're not working out, do like 10 push-ups a day. Do push-ups to failure and just add to it. You can start with one push-up a day. Do one push-up for the day. The next day do two and just be consistent on it. After a month, you're doing 30 push-ups a day. 2 months, you're doing 60 until you eventually can't grow as fast as much, and then maybe you're adding 50 push-ups per month. I don't, you could slow your progress down, but as long as you're making progress, 6 years from now, I'll see you in 2030. I'll see my future self. That's the question you gotta ask yourself. Is your past self, is your future self, would your future self be happy about what your past self did? Because, that's part of the reason I'm confident. 2 years from now, I am so happy that I came home, I started to stabilize my life, and then I started to fix my life. And that's all I ask for you is, start on that. Maybe your mental health is really bad. Start journaling. Start using music to recognize what emotions you have. Start to meditate. There's all this information out there on what will work and what won't work for you. If you have problems controlling your emotions, start trying to do box breathing in difficult situations. If that doesn't work for you, do it for like a month. If breathing doesn't help for you, start meditating every single day. Start journaling your life. And then switch it up until you find something that works for you. And it might take you a long time, but who cares? You got infinite time. I got another 6, 7 years, 6, 7 years till, 6 years till 2030. And then I got another 50 years. Because 2030, I'll be 29 because I'm 23. I'm 2001 baby. So you have all that time. Do it. Like there's no one stopping you. And once you see results, you'll want to keep doing it. And so that's all I get. That's all I have for today. I know I ended last video, the business video, really quickly, but that's because my dad came up and he was like, "You can't be outside because Hershey, my dog, is barking because, you're outside and you're not going to play with him because you're doing stuff or whatever. So I had to come inside or whatever, which is bullshit. Um, that's why I can't record at home or shit like that. That's why I can't record. The one time I didn't record in my car because the weekly update video was in my car and the video quality was really bad because the sun was going down and eventually got really dark and I only had the two lights above me for lighting or whatever. And so that video probably won't be good. I don't care about the views or anything. These videos are just to articulate my thoughts. And if I can make 600 video hours or 600 hours of video, like my, like that's no problem. Like if that's all I get is I have 600 hours of increasing better video articulation. So I'm better with my ideas. I'm better at speaking. After doing it 600 hours, that's okay. Like, that's all I need. And so that's my actions for the day. And like I said, tell me if my haircut, what should my haircut look? Is this a good haircut? Maybe this. You think this is okay? Maybe I just need to get the sides cut up and, the backs, or maybe it's good right now and maybe I should grow out my hair longer. I don't know. I'm trying out a new shampoo and conditioner. I used to use like an olive bar of soap or whatever that was just pure olive oil or whatever that was made out of olive oil. I don't know how to make it. So it wasn't damaging like regular soap, and I used that for my hair. But now I'm doing my conditioner and I'm gonna start using the shampoo. And it's like essential oils shampoo and conditioner that I got from Walmart because I've gotten their skincare ointment or whatever through Amazon and it was really good. And it's like rosemary and mint. And so I got the shampoo, which is rosemary and mint shampoo or whatever because I saw their brand in Walmart and I was like, oh my God, like I like their um elixir or whatever. That's the dropper where it's like little drops and you add it to your hair or whatever. And I think I'm trying that out. So yeah, my hair's kind of messed up today. And I don't like styling my hair, so I will tell you that if you guys recommend a haircut. I don't like styling my hair. Um so just let me know what's a good haircut to get. And so that's it for the day. All I gotta ask is start the tiny habits that better your life. Any tiny habits that you don't know, look them up on Google. Just put in tiny habits that increase your life, or what are some habits that will help my life or better my life or whatever. There's the information's out there. You just have to take action. And so I gotta end the video. I believe in you. You can do it. I'm improving my life. Come along with the journey with me. Start improving your life. That's it for the day. I got a good study room today. I'm thankful I got a study room. I came in early. That's it. Have have a fantastic day. I know sometimes I'm really enthusiastic with this pen. All I got is my book. You can do it. I believe in you. Start the daily habits in your life. And that's it for the video. So goodbye.